This is Paul Truelove on Zeus Radio Network for HearWomenTalk.com.
This is Dottie Laster, the host of Trafficked, an hour-long discussion about human trafficking in the United States. Join me as we meet guests from around the world and locally who are combating the fastest-growing crime in the world. Join us every Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern on Hear Women Talk Radio.
Hats galore. Visit our store at 4822 Highway 17 at Barefoot Landing. We have the largest source of hats in the greater Grand Strand area. Tilly, Stetson, Indiana Jones, Wallaroo, top hats, Mad Hatter, derbies, felts, fedoras, cowboy, golfer, driver, life is good. We carry a large selection of women's fashion hats as well as Red Hat Society hats. We also have an assortment of umbrellas, canes, and walking sticks. Hats galore, located at Barefoot Landing in North Myrtle Beach. We are the best source for hats in the Grand Strand area. Hats galore at barefoot.com.
Hi folks, this is Private Investigator Vicki Childs, host of the Vicki Childs Show on Hear Women Talk Radio. How safe is your cell phone? Is someone listening to all your calls or reading your text messages? How about your computer? Is someone watching all of your keystrokes? Or do you want to know what your child, your employee, or your spouse are doing on a computer or cell phone? If you need computer or cell phone forensics, do what I do. Talk to Steve Abrams at abramsforensics.com. Steve is a highly respected and skilled forensics expert as well as an attorney. Contact Steve Abrams for a free 15-minute consultation at abramsforensics.com. That's abramsforensics.com. Or click on the Abrams Forensics banner ad on Hear Women Talk and use promo code HWT.
Hi, I'm Annette Martin. My show, Annette Martin's Psychic World, is all about you. Call or use chat to talk with my intriguing guests or ask me an on-air psychic question. Every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, we will have an expert with words of wisdom to assist you with your life. So sit back, relax, and listen to Annette Martin's Psychic World on HearWomenTalk.com.
Hi, this is Judy Collins from Judy's House of Oldies, and you're listening to Hear Women Talk Radio on the Zeus Radio Network.
Police Psychics. Find me.
Welcome back, everyone. This is Kelly Snyder with Valerie Graham. We have Dan Baldwin as our guest today. And just before we left for our break, we had an excellent series of questions from our caller, Dawn, so do appreciate the call. One of the things I wanted to get involved in, Dan, is some of the cases that you've worked on locally where not only did you douse and the information is provided, but we actually, in some of these cases, matter of fact, quite a few of them, we actually went out with our sister agency, Arizona Search, Track, and Rescue, and searched for the individual based on your information and the others. One of them that comes to mind is a case about, I think, 3 years ago, somewhere in that vicinity, a guy by the name of Palmer, I think I can't remember his first name. Was it Darryl? Darren. Okay. So run that by, because that one was extremely significant, and I'll tie it up with what you brought forth to the table with your dowsing, and then a couple of the other members of the group, to where we tied the three different sets of information and went to the spot, and there he was.
Who were the other two, Kelly?
Well, one of them was a local member who's no longer in the group, so I'll just leave her name out for for this particular thing. And the other one was a lady from Australia. Her name is Gabrielle Crofts.
Never been to the United States.
Yeah, she's never set foot in the United States, so that's what I was getting at as far as the significance. But start out with the case, and a guy that was missing sent out a couple of letters, which he didn't say he was going to hurt himself, but it was pretty obvious with the family that this is what was going on. So they contacted us because the police would not go and look for an adult. An adult, as we all know, can go anywhere they want, and there's no reason for alarm unless they leave a letter or some indication they're going to commit suicide or they're going to go kill someone or do something with a bomb. Otherwise, the police, it's not that they don't care, it's just a case that they don't work, and that's nationwide. It's not any particular police department. So anyway, Dan, on that set of circumstances, go into what you did to prepare for that.
Okay, yeah, I love this case because it shows how our group actually works together, how all the little pieces of puzzle come together to form a complete picture. You have a better perspective on this, Kelly, because you were in the center, but as I remember, we got a notice that this guy was missing. He was an avid hiker, camper, had a four-wheel drive, and that he was someplace in Arizona or Colorado or Utah or New Mexico.
Well, he just said he was leaving town.
Yeah.
He was not going to come back. He had been, recently divorced, and he was having issues with his job. And essentially the letter, even though it didn't say I'm going to go and kill myself, pretty much everyone, the ex-wife and the family members, were really concerned because the letter, I'm not coming back, what does that tell you? I mean, it means you're not coming back to Phoenix, or you're not coming back to
positive.
Whatever. And so they all thought that he was going to commit suicide, and we needed to find him right away, and we got the call on day number 2 or 3, so I sent out an email to all of the members saying, I need your response now, immediately. So I remember you were one of the first or second or third, doesn't matter at this point, coming through with the information, but it was extremely significant. Do you remember what it was?
I went into map dowsing and did the elimination, Colorado, New Mexico, Arizona. What I got Arizona and did my thing, got down, smaller areas, and finally broke out my topological maps and got a specific back road, specific number back road, and that he was, I think, 50 feet to the west of that road between 2 specific markers, 1 mile apart. So I said, if you go to this road between, let's say, the low water bridge and the next bridge, walk 50 feet, you find him.
Well, there was one thing that you said, I recall, and this is off top of my memory bank here, but it was something to do with Bear Creek Canyon and something to do with a forest road, 84.
Bear Lake,
Was it Bear Lake? Yeah. Anyway,
there's a Bear Lake and there's a Bear Creek Canyon,
Well, and you said you go to the end of this forest, this forest road, 84, which incidentally, you had 2 numbers. One was 84, one was 89. And the irony there is it started 89, ended up 84, but at the end of it, where it dead end, was someone's private property. And then, of course, that's where he was located. The significance of the other 2 members was one said definitely in the Payson area, in the general vicinity of what you were talking about. But Gabby, out of Australia, said to take a gravel road, and there was red striping around all of the trees that were in this general vicinity. And of course, no one at the time could figure out what that was. It ended up being, when the search team went there and they found him deceased, it was paint that was painted across all of these trees in the general area that the homeowner and the Forest Service had labeled trees they wanted cut out of the area. The Forest Service was doing it for, their control it circumstances and issues, and
that's what you saw.
Well, and then the homeowner was cutting these trees out, to create a bigger area for his horses and raw land. But the cool thing about that particular case is literally within a day and a half, the body was located, and it was all based on this information, literally between these 3 psychics, that when you're getting something that comes together based on what the search team is telling you, they had the gravel road, there was a forest road, 84, that started out Forest Road 89, turned into 84, and at the end of it was Darren Palmer. Unfortunately, he was deceased, and nothing we could have done really would have saved the individual, even though we didn't know that, because he had actually committed the act about exactly the same time as we got the phone call. So we were about 2 days late, but
at least you found him.
Well, again, we had, for the family, we brought closure for them.
Yes.
For the police department, which was the sheriff's department in that particular community, found the body based on the homeowner, saw this tent sitting on his property, went to investigate the tent, and there was the body. And literally 3 hours later, our search team pulls into this area, and even though our search team didn't find it, we were sending them there, which unfortunately was a 2.5 hour drive from where we were sending them. So it was just a matter of, was he there? Were we accurate? We were 100% accurate. We just didn't get there in time. The homeowner found Mr. Palmer deceased on his property, but that's the kind of teamwork that I was talking about.
Yes. Kelly, someone on our chat line, MJ, asked, what percentage is Dan accurate if he's tracking? Of course, in this case, I don't know if you ever did that. Dan took a percentage. I know your hunches have yielded some very concrete results, and in this case, you were 100% accurate. Do you care to comment on that question?
I don't keep track of percentages. I just try to do the best job I can as I do it. So and one of the problems is we do not get feedback a lot of times from the authorities, so we don't know exactly how accurate the whole group is.
Well, and that, it's not so much as keeping track of your percentages as much as with the psychics, and we've discussed this in other programs, to some of the psychics in the group, not necessarily Dan, but getting this feedback helps them in trying to do a better job by knowing what mistakes that they made and where they were accurate and where they weren't accurate. Dan, along with all the other members of the group, almost all of them keep copies of all of their reports, because then when we do get this feedback, I send the feedback to all of the members so that they can see what they did right and what they did wrong. And again, I think I mentioned in earlier shows that I'm not keeping a scorecard, of what is right or wrong within the membership. If someone is wrong in the membership, then that individual member needs to look into why they were wrong. But also on the flip side of that, if they're right, then they also need to look at that, because when you're right, it's critical to note down as to why you were right, so that you can continue to do the good things and be right more than you are wrong. So anyway, I noticed we're looking at another 2-minute break here, Dan, but
we will be back.
As soon as we get back, we'll continue, and also all of our listeners, hang in there. And
Kelly, if anyone would like to call us, it's 914-338-1186, or you can get on the chat line at hearwomentalk.com. Look forward to hearing from you.
Hi, my name is Jesse Jordan with Further Faster Initiatives, and you're listening to Hear Women Talk Radio.
Hi, this is Kay Van Hoosen, founder of Hear Women Talk. Every Monday, you can return to love with Jen Ward in Genuine Healing. Jen is an empath, a healer, and an intuitive, and Jen will show you how to remove blockages, heal yourself, and feel love. That's Mondays at 3 p.m. Eastern on Hear Women Talk.
When you're in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, home of Zeus Broadcast Network and Hear Women Talk, there's a wonderful adventure that you should try. Carolina Safari Jeep Tours.
Go to www.carolinasafari.com and check out Carolina Safari. Mention Hear Women Talk and get a discount from Carolina Safari Jeep Tours.
See another side of Myrtle Beach.